rarely meet players in the advocacy spaces outside of advocacy spaces.
What makes good advocacy? What is successful about this? How are we able to get a quick grasp of some of these things and be able to move them on? So what I'm really keen to hear from the panel is their experience. I'm very keen for them to kind of set the mood for what the rest of the day is going to hold for us in lessons, understanding, experiences, and what the gaps are.
Friends and advocates, we are here because we believe that engaging in public policy advocacy changes lives.
The opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice. The people who we live with, or live by, or live together with, are poor, not because they don't have wealth, but because they don't have justice. Whenever you're advocating for an issue, you are advocating for the opposite of poverty, for people to get justice for what they deserve.
For an advocacy plan to work, you must have proper data, you must have a clear strategy, and you must have an agreed upon implementation plan.
From the side of an advocate, what are the challenges as an advocate when you're fighting for something like that?
We do not map the opposition and we do not address them. Most of the time, we are just reactive. We wait until they've done something and then we very quickly get together, have a strategy for that one issue, address it, and then go back. We don't look at advocacy as a long-term process and how we actually strategize for that long-term process.
So must advocacy always be persuasive, with a lot of passion and appealing to decision and policy makers, or sometimes it has to be provocative?
And at different times in the life of your campaign, you will apply different kinds of pressure. And that is why you have a strategy that you design at the outset, but that which you continually review to make sure that the methods you're using are taking you where you want to go.
What turns a great advocacy campaign into a movement? What gets the public involved? How do we even get to be on media?
With the media, you have to be visual. Paperwork and documents and the like just don't cut it, especially now with the advent of social media.
You can advocate all you want until the cows come home. But until you meaningfully involve your stakeholders, then your message, what it is, your issue you want passed across will never be clear.
When you tell someone it costs less than 50 shillings a year to impact a child, then they're like, why aren't we doing this more?
So you want people to work with you. They need to own that message. They need to understand it clearly so that they can be able to walk your talk.
Advocacy is communication plus action. You must be asking for a specific action to change, be it in law, in policy, in attitude or behavior.
What are you advocating for the change? Is that policymaker someone who wants to make news about this, or are they willing to support you without ever being seen to get the impact that you want?
Advocacy in itself as an art, as a science, is evolving.
The important issue here is who collects the data and how is it utilized?
A lot of the times, unfortunately for us, the data is not owned from within.
You need to have the evidence that justify why you are choosing a particular topic or a particular issue that you want to influence in the budget.
And the thing about paying journalists to cover your functions and to write stories about you, it's not just immoral, it's unprofessional, and it's criminal.
Every campaign or every organization that's trying to do advocacy has a larger strategy. Something is trying to achieve, an impact it's trying to make. The social media strategy is a subset of that.
My biggest challenge more and more is that we seem not to be doing any mentorship around advocacy.
We were actually talking about mentorship, and one example was looking at shadow mentorship. And this was in response to some of the youth saying we're not given opportunities, and if we are given opportunities, sometimes they ask for so many years of experience.
Even the long-term goals that you actually put, depending on your advocacy strategy, can actually be achieved at short term if the political context actually favors your initiative. So also when you're coming up with your indicators, you need to be very aware of that and be able to try and agree on qualitative indicators that are able to share, to give progress in terms of the incremental change of your advocacy initiative.
We were sharing real experiences, real stories on what's been working, what's not working.
It's interesting to see experienced advocates and to learn from them.
I got to learn from the roundtable experiences. I got to hear, how people do it in their organizations.
So I'm looking forward to more sessions like this, and I'm hoping more people can have this experience too.
I think what I would like to say to Advocacy Accelerator is, as young people, we're ready to work with you, we're ready to collaborate with you, and we are going to challenge you as well, as has been mentioned, to make sure that young people are always a center as well in the policies and in the advocacy efforts that we do. So thank you so much.
Let us all work in our own different spaces to ensure that our advocacy addresses the injustices that is being meted upon our people.
What we lack is not money. We have so much in our countries, so much. What we lack is leadership. Perhaps when you reflect further, what we lack actually are advocates who can be able to engage the leadership and who can show direction. Perhaps what we lack even more is a platform to skill our advocates. It is a platform where advocates can engage. It's a platform where advocates can go for resources. When I look at Lecho, when I look at Wajiko, when I look at all of you who believe in the Advocacy Accelerator, I see a possibility. I see possibilities in ensuring that we have advocates who can engage our governments at national level, at county level, at whatever levels, so that we can make it happen in these countries of ours.